Parallel World, Blue Star. The playground of Zhangchen No. 2 Middle School is crowded with people. Today is the day for the senior students of No. 2 Middle School to awaken their profession. It is also the oath-taking ceremony for the National Professional College Entrance Examination. Countless students wearing No. 2 Middle School uniforms lined up in classes, and behind them were countless media and journalists carrying cameras to record this important scene. Class 8 of Senior 3, all soldiers. Stand up. Swear with me. At the front of the queue, a spirited young man suddenly stood up, picked up the microphone, and shouted hoarsely, "From today on, I will become a member of Daxia Professionals. I will work hard and level up bravely. I have a share in the revival of the human race." Ugh. Perhaps he was too strong, and at the end of a series of oaths, he even began to vomit. Pop, 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 pop. The school leaders on the stage took the lead in applauding. Countless media and journalists also gave applause and praise. This is the spirit they want. In the queue of Class 8 of Senior 3, the handsome boy almost laughed out loud. His name is Lin Yi, and it has been 18 years since he traveled to this world. This is a world that has been invaded by countless games. The territory of the entire world has expanded more than 10 times compared to the Earth where Lin Yi lived in his previous life. And the humans in this world are not the race at the top of the food chain in the true sense of the entire Blue Star. In a large number of unknown areas, there are a large number of unknown and terrifying monsters and beasts, which threaten the civilization of the human race at all times. In such an environment, everyone is like chicken blood, thinking about improving themselves all the time. In addition to preparing for war, there is still preparation for war. Fortunately, humans have also received the gift of the Blue Star Heaven. Everyone has a chance to awaken skills after they become adults at the age of 18. Getting combat skills means successfully transferring to a main combat profession. Later, they will become the vanguard of the human race against monsters and beasts. The identity and status are much higher than those who have awakened auxiliary and life skills. You can still laugh. I'm so nervous. A tall and strong boy next to Lin Yi poked Lin Yi's lower back and said with sweat on his forehead, "Why are you so nervous? Isn't it just awakening a profession?" Lin Yi didn't care and remained calm. The tall man was named Zhang Shan, a good friend of Lin Yi. Maybe his parents had too high expectations. Although he was tall and strong, he was far less calm and free than Lin Yi at this time. "You have been the first in the whole grade for the past 3 years, so of course you are not nervous." "Fuck, I just want to be a warrior and inherit my father's legacy." He also has a full set of equipment and skill books, and even saved 5 skill point scrolls for a main to use. "It's time to explode gold coins, old thing." Lin Yi laughed. He was really a filial son. With the end of the oath-taking ceremony, the awakening ceremony of the professional players of Zhangchen No. 2 Middle School officially began. The process of the ceremony is very simple. The person whose name is called walks up to the stage and touches the huge light blue spirit crystal stone suspended in the center of the stage to obtain the first skill. At the same time, according to the skills obtained, the corresponding professional characteristics are awakened. Zhao Quan, obtain the skill, fishing, life-related professional fisherman. Cai Kun, obtain the skill, singing, life-related professional idol. Zhang Chengliang, obtain the skill, forging, life-related professional blacksmith. As one after another came up to the stage to awaken their professions, the teachers who announced the awakening results on the stage read out the cold skills and professions one by one, and many people in the audience became nervous like Zhang Shan. In fact, the teachers of Zhangchen No. 2 Middle School were also very dissatisfied. They were talking in a low voice. Why are the students this year so poorly qualified? More than 10 minutes have passed, and there is not a single one who has awakened combat skills. Zhang Yat, come up and awaken your profession. The teacher who sang the lyrics on the stage called another name. The next moment, everyone in Class 8 of Senior 3 cast their eyes on a girl with a cold temperament at the front of the queue. Zhang Yat, come on. Standing at the front of the line of Class 8, Hu Kai, the monitor of Class 8, who had just shouted at the top of his lungs and even broke his voice, showed a self-proclaimed warm smile and encouraged Zhang Yat, who knew that his licking was not in place. Because at this moment, the latter did not even look at him. Instead, he looked up at another teenager at the back of the team. Lin Yi felt Zhang Ya's slightly provocative gaze and felt helpless. It's just that in the past 3 years, he has been suppressed by himself. As for the resentment, he still provoked himself when awakening his profession. Zhang Yat is the class flower of Class 8 and the school flower of Zhangchen No. 2 Middle School. This look is incredible. In an instant, everyone once again focused their attention on Lin Yi. After all, one is the first in the grade and the other is the second in the grade. This is too much. What profession these two people will awaken is also a matter of constant discussion and discussion by countless people. Zhang Yat took a deep look at Lin Yi, then walked onto the stage with her long legs and reached out to touch the blue spirit crystal. The next moment, the blue spirit crystal trembled a few times, emitting a violent wave of magic power. The next moment, a series of strange phenomena appeared in the entire playground. I saw countless sand and stones, which began to defy gravity and gradually float into the air. It even keeps rotating in a mysterious trajectory. The eyes of the old principal on the stage shone brightly. Before the lyrics teacher could speak, he announced the result of this awakening. Zhang Yat, awakening skill, telepathy control. Combat profession, telepathy master. Wow! The whole place was in an uproar instantly. Stuck. The reporters who were waiting behind were a little impatient and pressed the shutter frantically to record this historic moment. Mentalist, a rare profession. This profession can use mental power to control objects and attack enemies, and it can also use extremely terrifying telekinesis to completely destroy the enemy's mental defenses. Zhang Yat, the cold-faced school beauty, even showed a smile after confirming that she got such an extremely rare career. Lin Yi, come up and awaken your profession. With the shock of Zhang Yat before. This time, everyone once again focused their attention on Lin Yi. Being second in grade is a rare occupation. The first in the grade must have a legendary profession. As for the higher level epic profession, they don't dare to think about it. The pressure was on Lin Yi. Zhang Shan's hands couldn't stop shaking. But the good brother was about to face the most important challenge in his life, and he still gave his blessing. Come on, you can do it. Have an epic career. Lin Yi strode onto the stage. It is actually impossible to say that I am not nervous. In this environment, with the attention and expectations of so many people. Even though he has been a man for 2 generations, Lin Yi, who has already been in an easygoing mood, still feels a little anxious. Reach out and touch the blue spiritual crystal. A cold touch came over me. The next moment, a faint wave of magic power came from the spiritual crystal. The old principal on the side raised his eyebrows with some expectation. Who knew that this wave of magic power would not continue to strengthen the moment it appeared? That's all. Finally, he hid his disappointment and reluctantly announced, Lin Yi, awakening skill, fireball, combat profession, mage. Mage. The most common mage. Although it is a combat profession, with Zhang Ya's pearls in front, plus the countless halos on Lin Yi's head before. This result is undoubtedly disappointing to most people. Stuck. The shutter sound kept ringing. Lin Yi stayed on the stage. It's not because he is dissatisfied with the skills and profession he has awakened. But at the same time, he heard another voice in his head. Congratulations, you have awakened the SSS level talent, gift of the gods. Effect, you gain 1 skill point every second. Note, as your experience and strength increase, this talent will gradually unlock more functions, so stay tuned. What? Get 1 skill point in 1 second. This cheat is a bit too much. Lin Yi was a little confused at the moment. Because according to what he learned in the textbook, most of the skills of all professionals in this world are acquired in their original form. Even if you are a master-level master of the 5th and 6th transformations. When you get a new skill, this skill is only a small skill of the 1st level. You need to brush dungeons, do tasks, or earn skill points through various natural treasures or adventures. And the efficiency of obtaining skill points is extremely low. At least before the 3rd transformation, most difficult dungeons can only get single-digit skill points in one trip. As for ordinary dungeons, sorry, there are no skill points in the clearance rewards. So for the professionals in this world, the level of skills is, to a large extent, the most intuitive reflection of their combat power. My skill level is higher, even if my level is lower than yours. I can easily defeat the strong with the weak. This is also why most professionals in this world are liver emperors. Because if you want to improve the strength of your skills, you have to work hard. And what about Lin Yi? He simply calculated in his mind. He doesn't need to do anything. No need to brush dungeons, no need to do tasks. He can get 86,400 skill points by hanging up for a day. What the hell is this concept? This means that after Lin Yi gets a new skill, it is very likely that he will only need 1 day to increase the skill to the top level, or even the full level. Lin Yi's confusion and shock, in the eyes of others. It has become unbelievable and a huge psychological gap. The most feared thing is comparison. With Zhang Ya, a rare level profession leading the way, plus the expectations and waiting of so many people, this is the ending. They even began to worry whether Lin Yi would not be able to withstand this loss and difference. Zhang Shan clenched his fists in the audience. After the initial shock, he felt even more distressed for his good brother. In his opinion, even if Lin Yi could not awaken a rare level profession, at least it should be a rare profession, right? Who knows, he is just an ordinary mage. Even the first skill he got was Fireball. The characteristics of the mage profession are very obvious. That is, a violent damage profession with large range and high output. But there are also many disadvantages. The reading time is long and the body is fragile. So most mage professionals, at the beginning, the best skill they get is actually Frost Arrow. Because ice skills have deceleration and control. It is convenient for mages to kite level up. Although the fire mage has higher damage, it needs too much protection. There is almost no ability to level up alone. Student Lin Yi, I think you don't need to be so disappointed. It's already very good. The mage profession is also promising, and there is still a long way to go in the future. Don't be bothered by the temporary gap. The old principal on the stage forced a smile, patted Lin Yi on the shoulder, and advised earnestly. At the same time, countless people and those media people in the audience all talked about it. Hey, he's the top student in the grade, but he's just an ordinary profession in the end. I like to watch this kind of plot of genius falling. I've disliked that guy for a long time. He's so handsome and has good grades, and he's so arrogant. He must be frustrated now. Look at his expression. He must not be able to bear the blow. He's going to be like everyone else. You're talking nonsense. You're talking as if you can definitely awaken a combat profession. Maybe you're not as good as I. Zhang Shan also started to quarrel with the classmates who were making sarcastic remarks around him. He stiffened his neck and blushed. Zhang Yan in the crowd looked at Lin Yi on the stage, and a trace of regret appeared in her eyes. She didn't say anything sarcastic. She didn't look down on Lin Yi just because he awakened an ordinary profession. She knew this man too well. 3 years of desk mates, 3 years of opponents. Zhang Ya had extremely complicated feelings for Lin Yi. She had to admit that at this moment, she finally beat Lin Yi once, but why did she still feel so disappointed? Lin Yi was also stunned by the old principal's comfort. When did I feel depressed? Can't you see that I am so excited now? It's better to be low-key. No, I can't stay here any longer. Lin Yi is afraid that he will laugh out loud. With this talent, he actually has a crazy plan in his mind. According to the knowledge learned from the book, the skill levels of all professionals are divided into 9 levels. Above the 9th level is the ultimate form of the skills of each profession. Taking the mage as an example, the 9th level skill is the forbidden spell. What is above the forbidden spell? Lin Yi doesn't know. But he has a small goal, which is to add his fireball spell to the forbidden spell first. The skill points required to upgrade from the 1st level to the 9th level are in the millions. For most professionals, it may take hundreds of years, or even a lifetime. But for Lin Yi, it is just a matter of more than 10 days. Lin Yi did not participate in the second half of the awakening ceremony. Anyway, everyone thinks he is now jaded. Then I'll just pretend. It's great to finish class early. Lin Yi left school and returned home. It was Lin Yi's father, Lin Qiudong, who opened the door. How is it? What profession did you awaken? Your mother bought a table of delicious food for you to come home today. Lin Qiudong looked at his son with a smile. Although he was just an ordinary life professional, he was also the hardest working and lowest ranking miner among life professionals. But he was proud to have a son like Lin Yi. Lin Yi's mother Su Qingfang saw the door open and came out, looking at Lin Yi expectantly. Lin Yi, mage. Lin Qiudong and Su Qingfang looked at each other and saw surprise on each other's faces. Not bad, not bad. Ha ha ha, I didn't expect that my Lin family would have a combat profession. Mage is good. High output, no worries about employment. Come on, wash your hands and eat. The family of 3 had a very happy dinner. Lin Qiudong even took out the old wine he had collected for many years and drank a few more sips. He even poured a glass for Lin Yi. After all, he was an adult and could drink. Lin Yi didn't want to spoil his father's mood, so he could only drink a little. Time was like flowing water, and 7 days passed in the blink of an eye. During these 7 days, Lin Yi didn't go anywhere. He just played games at home and browsed his phone. His life was extremely comfortable. After awakening the profession, the theoretical classes and related practical classes in the school have been suspended. For all the new professionals in Daxia. After awakening the profession, it is actually equivalent to graduating from high school. The next month is the time for everyone to work overtime to upgrade their skills. 1 month later, it will be Daxia's annual National Professional College Entrance Examination. Passing the college entrance examination and getting into a better professional university will be of great benefit to your future life. During these 7 days, other students probably worked hard and got more than 10 skill points at most, right? I don't know how many times I am ahead of them. Knock, knock. As he was thinking this, there was a knock on the door. Lin Yi stood up and opened the door. He saw Zhang Shan standing outside the door with a box in his arms. Seeing Lin Yi open the door, Zhang Shan walked in breathlessly and put down the things in his arms. There was a very dull knock. I didn't see you in the leveling area, nor in the dungeon entrance. What happened to you? Isn't it just that I awakened an ordinary profession? Does it make you so depressed? As Zhang Shan said this, he wiped his sweat, opened the box, and took out everything inside. These are the leveling potions and red and blue potions that my old man bought for me. The blue potion is useless to me, so I'll give it all to you. I'll give you half of the red potion, too. In addition, there are 3 skill point scrolls in here. You can get 3 skill points by crushing them. You can use them as you like. By the way, I'd like to inform you that your brother finally awakened a rare level profession, the Knight of Light. Since you've been copying my homework and helping me cheat for the past 3 years, can I help you level up? I'll pull monsters, and you'll output. I can handle it without a nurse. We'll share the experience equally, so don't continue to be emo at home. Looking at what Zhang Shan brought and listening to what Zhang Shan said, Lin Yi felt warm in his heart. This is a true brother. Zhang Shan's family background is not very strong. Although his father is a combat professional, he is also the most ordinary one. These 3 skill point scrolls, I guess this kid also gave half to himself. Really willing. Lin Yi took out the skill point scroll from the box and stuffed it back into Zhang Shan's hand, laughing and scolding, "Who the hell told you that I'm emo? And you can use these skill point scrolls yourself. I don't want them. I'm not giving up and not leveling up. I'm just holding back." Lin Yi spent more than 10 minutes persuading Zhang Shan, who was half believing and half doubting, to leave. Who knew that just as Zhang Shan left, the door of his house was knocked again. Opening the door, Lin Yi saw another guy in a courier uniform holding a box, smiling and asking, "Is this Lin Yi's home? There's your delivery." "Lin Yi, I didn't buy anything." The guy continued, "It's for you. The sender is Zhang Yat." Zhang Ya's usually cold and a little arrogant face had already appeared in Lin Yi's mind. Opening the box, Lin Yi also saw a box full of high-level alchemy potions and high-level mana and blood recovery potions. The most important thing is that Lin Yi even saw more than a dozen experience bonus scrolls. Each of these scrolls is estimated to cost hundreds of Daxia coins. She is indeed a rich woman. What Lin Yi didn't know was that Zhang Ya had been struggling for 7 days over this matter. She even planned to go to Lin Yi's house and say something when she saw him leaving school sadly on the first day. But the reserve of the eldest lady and the cold personality she has always maintained made her unable to lose face. In the end, although she didn't show up, her heart was still there. Lin Yi gladly accepted the box of things. The friendship between classmates in these 3 years seems to be much deeper than the desire to compare. After sending the courier away, Lin Yi opened the box, but saw a piece of paper under the bottles of mixtures and potions. It seemed that the person who put this paper didn't want Lin Yi to see it at all. Lin Yi took out the paper, turned to the back, and saw a line of beautiful small words. "Don't be too sad. If you need anything, find me." Only one sentence. But Lin Yi could imagine how many times Zhang Ya had to scribbled and reorganized her words before finally writing this sentence. Lin Yi counted and put away the things Zhang Shan and Zhang Ya had given him, then opened his own panel. Lin Yi. Profession, mage, first transfer. Specialization, fire. Level, LV.1, 0%. Health, 10/10. Mana, 100/100. Strength, 1. Agility, 1. Spirit, 10. Constitution, 1. Endurance, 1. Talent, Gift of the Gods, SSS. Allocated attribute points, 0. Allocated skill points, 602,163. Professional skills, energy saving casting, passive, fast chanting, passive, fireball, active. Looking at his skill point balance of more than 600,000, Lin Yi took a deep breath. The skill points accumulated in these 7 days are too terrifying. Nothing more to say. Deep blue, add points. Lin Yi opened the skill panel of fireball and started to add points like crazy. Ding 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 ding. Lin Yi kept hearing the prompt sound of successful skill upgrade, and the fireball in the panel kept flashing the upgraded brilliance. The flames became more and more blazing, and it also emitted golden streams. Cool. So cool. This feeling of adding points to skills at the speed of light, like riding a rocket, is really the most wonderful experience in the world. Consume 500 skill points, your fireball is upgraded, and you get a new spell, Pyroblast. Consume 2,000 skill points. Your pyroblast is upgraded, and you get a new spell, Triple Flame Lance. Consume 5,000 skill points. Your Triple Flame Lance is upgraded, and you get a new spell, Flame Storm. Consume 10,000 skill points. Your Flame Storm has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Blazing Light Wheel. Consume 50,000 skill points. Your Blazing Wheel of Light has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Molten Balrog. Consumption of 100,000 skill points. Your Molten Flame Demon has been upgraded, and you have obtained a new spell, Skyflame Dragon Breath. More than 10 minutes later, as Lin Yi continued to add points, the skills in his skill panel interface are also different from what they used to be. The Fireball technique, which was originally mediocre, now has more than 100,000 skill points invested in it. It has advanced to level 7. The whole room was scorching hot. Lin Yi felt an unprecedented blazing heat wave sweeping through his body. All limbs and bones seemed to be bathed in the most terrifying and blazing golden flames in the world. But these flames will not hurt him at all. Instead, he felt that he already had an extremely terrifying affinity with the fire element in this world. He just has to give orders. These most brutal and destructive elements will burst out together, burning his enemies into ashes. Lin Yi checked what the next advanced spell was. Level 8 Fire Spirit Incarnation. Advanced skill points required, 500,000. Lin Yi was stunned. The skill points consumed for subsequent upgrades were almost astronomical. No wonder Lin Yi heard that only the super old masters of rank 7 or 8 and above in the world could use spells close to the level of forbidden spells. Without such a long period of time, it would be difficult to accumulate such a large amount of skill points. And Lin Yi, in just 1 week, had almost completed the journey that the Supreme Mage took throughout his life. Lin Yi thought for a moment and turned his attention to the other 2 skills. Energy Saving Spellcasting and Quick Chant. These 2 skills were awakened by the way when I obtained the basic mage active skill of Fireball. The effect is also very simple. That is, it can reduce his spellcasting consumption and chanting time by 10%. Can you add some points to these 2 skills? Lin Yi has noticed that the high-level spells he has mastered have a characteristic. That is, while the power is extremely terrifying, the skill consumption is also very large. The chanting time is also very long. Take the 7th level spell Skyflame Dragon Breath that Lin Yi just obtained as an example. Skyflame Dragon Breath. Type, active skill. Level, 7th level. Section, Fire System. Consumption, 30,000 mana. Chanting time, 20 seconds. Cooling time, 2 hours. Effect, summon the scorching dragon's breath from the sky, ignite all targets within the dragon's breath range, cause a lot of fire damage, and add long-term dragon flame burning damage. Note, wherever it passes, it will be scorched earth. This 7th level spell, once released, consumes 30,000 mana points. It also requires an extra long chant of 20 seconds. Lin Yi now has only 100 mana points and can't even use this high-level skill. So Lin Yi focused on his 2 passive skills, especially energy saving casting. I hope this skill can bring surprises to me after it is upgraded. At least it can let me cast high-level spells. Lin Yi switched the skill points to energy saving casting, and then, just like adding points to Fireball before, he started to add points like crazy. The reminder sound of ding 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 was endless. More than 10 minutes later, Lin Yi received the reminder of the last skill upgrade again. Consume 100,000 skill points, your Super Mana Surge is upgraded, and you get a new passive skill, Mana Storm. Lin Yi also consumed more than 100,000 skill points to upgrade the small skill energy saving casting to level 7. Of course, its name is now more domineering. Mana Storm. Type, passive skill. Level 7. Section, General System. Effect 1. The mana consumption of all spells you cast is reduced by 70%. Effect 2. The mana limit you get from all sources is increased by 7 times, and you recover 7% of your maximum mana per second. Effect 3. Every 8 hours, you have a chance to cast any spell below level 9 for free. The current number of times it can be effective is 1 time, and the maximum number of stacking times is 3 times. Note, I am the approaching storm. Hiss. Lin Yi took a breath of cold air. God passive. And it just solved his urgent need. All skills have a 70% reduction in mana consumption, which means that his endurance is stronger. The consumption of a Skyflame Dragon Breath has been reduced from 30,000 to 9,000. Although it is still very high, it is by no means out of reach. More importantly, he has 3 free spells every day. In this way, he will not be unable to use key skills because of lack of mana. Cool. Lin Yi did not stop and continued to focus on the last remaining passive skill, Quick Chanting. Another crazy point increase lasting more than 10 minutes. Lin Yi was a little tired. Although this crazy experience of improving his skills was wonderful and exciting. But it was really boring. All he needed to do was keep clicking. Lin Yi's hands were sore. If other professionals knew about Lin Yi's troubles, they would probably be angry to death. They all worked hard to brush the dungeon for a day and earned dozens or hundreds of skill points. Think about it carefully and consider how to improve your skills with the best cost-effectiveness and the greatest benefits. Lin Yi was fine. Anyway, he just added it without thinking. Soon, another 7th level skill was freshly released. Divine Grace Chanting. Type, Passive Skill. Level, 7th level. Section, General System. Effect 1. When you cast a spell below level 5, the spell becomes instant, and the chanting time of spells above level 5 is shortened by 70%. Effect 2. Your chanting will not be interrupted by any interruption, silence, or magic band skills below level 7. Effect 3. Every 8 hours, you have a chance to instantly cast any spell below level 9. Currently effective number of times, 1. Maximum stacking number is 3 times. Note, Divine Blessing, God's Word Singing. Here it comes. Instant cast spells are here. Lin Yi had expected that his 2 passive skills would be very exaggerated after upgrading. But he didn't expect it to be so exaggerated. And they also cooperate with each other. No consumption casting plus instant cast. This is our exciting combination skill. If Lin Yi wants to now, he can even instantly cast a level 7 Skyflame Dragon Breath on the spot. Although Lin Yi has not tested the power of this skill, he has a hunch. This level 7 fire system big move is bombarded. Maybe most of Zhang Cheng will suffer. He is not an anti-human lunatic, so he will naturally not do this. But to be honest, Lin Yi is actually itching to try it. Since I can't use high-level skills in the city, I can try it in the high-level leveling area where there are few people, right? Lin Yi threw all the alchemical potions and red and blue medicines he had just counted, as well as several experience scrolls and return scrolls, into the 50-slot portable space that came with the awakening profession. After that, Lin Yi walked out of the house and went to Jiangqing's life-related professional commercial street to get a lot of food and water for free. He completely filled up his portable space. Daxia attaches great importance to the cultivation of talents. Therefore, new professionals like Lin Yi who have just awakened their skills all enjoy educational benefits. Just tell these life-related professional vendors, I am a student. Then show your student ID card and you can get a lot of basic supplies for free. Everything is ready. Lin Yi walked out of the inner city of Zhangcheng and came to the suburbs. The suburbs are an endless grassland with a gentle breeze and good weather today. Lin Yi looked around and saw many people of his age waving various weapons on the grassland to kill small animals such as hares and marmots that are harmless to humans and animals. This is the lowest level training area outside Zhangcheng, Qingfeng Grassland. The monsters on this grassland are generally level 1 to 4, and all of them will not actively attack people. Even weak monsters like rabbits and marmots will only run away when they are hit, and will not fight back at all. This place is a paradise for novices. So a large number of people who have just awakened their professions will choose to level up here. However, the leveling efficiency will be relatively low, because there are more people than monsters. Most monsters may be killed by countless attacks as soon as they are refreshed. So some people who pursue, or those with rich family backgrounds and stronger professions, will choose to go deep into the grassland to challenge more dangerous and stronger monsters, and the leveling efficiency will be higher. Lin Yi bypassed the popular leveling area of Qingfeng grassland and walked deep into the grassland. It took half a day to walk. Half a day later, Lin Yi looked at the dense forest that appeared at the end of the grassland and breathed a sigh of relief. There is a more advanced leveling area, Howling Forest. The monsters in the forest are generally above level 9, and they are all bloodthirsty and brutal, and will attack actively. Lin Yi took a short break, ate some dry food, drank a few sips of water, and continued on his way. At the same time, he did not relax his vigilance and took out a bottle of alchemy potion prepared in his personal space. This potion flashed a faint blue light and looked very beautiful. Lin Yi drank the alchemy potion ton by ton. Well, it tasted terrible. I don't know what strange herbs were used to make it. There was a smell of coriander. However, Lin Yi didn't care too much. He was more concerned about the extra state that lasted for 1 hour. Intermediate spiritual potion. Increase your spiritual attributes by 30 points and your mana limit by 300 points. With the bonus of the passive skill Mana Storm, these 30 points of spiritual attributes are equivalent to increasing the mana limit by 2100 points, and the effect of increasing the mana limit itself also gives an additional 2100 points. With this state, Lin Yi's current mana has also increased from a pitiful 100 points to 4300 points. With 70% mana reduction, Lin Yi calculated that he could at least cast hundreds of level 3 spells continuously. As for level 4 and level 5 spells, if he used them sparingly, he could still cast them at a high frequency. This is why Lin Yi dared to challenge the level 10 training area, the Howling Forest, with his fragile level 1 body. Walking into the forest, a chilly breath instantly surrounded Lin Yi. The plants in the forest are extremely lush. Even now when the sun is at its peak, there are only a few spots of sunlight that can fall on the forest. At this moment, there are almost no levelers around him. The time for the job transfer ceremony organized by each school in Zhangcheng is not fixed, and there may be a delay of 2 or 3 days. Lin Yi has been at home for 3 days, so he is not too far behind the main force. Going deeper, Lin Yi heard bursts of screaming and wailing like beasts. In fact, this is not the wailing of some creature, but it is said that there is a cave deep in the forest that blows out fierce winds all year round. When the wind blows through the forest, it will create such a gloomy and terrifying wailing sound. This is also the origin of the name of this forest. Hiss, hiss, hiss. A rustling sound suddenly came from above Lin Yi's head, and he became alert. Looking back, he saw a giant python as thick as a bucket, with 2 snake pupils as big as goose eggs, staring at him. The next moment, the giant python hissed, opened its bloody mouth, and bit towards Lin Yi. Lin Yi's mind moved, and he prepared a skill to kill it instantly. At this critical moment, the dark forest was instantly illuminated by orange-red flames. Lin Yi only felt an extremely familiar burning wave coming from behind him, and the next moment, a fireball suddenly hit the giant python's head. The giant python felt pain, and its hatred was instantly transferred. Its huge snake body rushed out from the tree trunk, suddenly bounced, and pounced fiercely in the direction of the attack. However, halfway through, he saw another giant fireball that was bigger than the previous one, as big as a basin, suddenly hit him. Boom! This big fireball hit the giant python, and a lot of sparks exploded instantly. After this heavy blow, the giant python was charred all over, and its huge body twisted for a while, and then it died completely. At this time, Lin Yi also saw the source of the two fireballs just now. It was a student-like young man of the same age as Lin Yi, and there was a middle-aged wizard in a gray robe beside him. At this moment, the young man was looking at Lin Yi with a playful look on his face. "Uncle Su, how was my performance just now?" The young man seemed very satisfied with the fireball he just shot, and hurriedly asked for praise. The gray-robed middle-aged wizard standing next to him nodded. "Young master, your fireball technique just now was very accurate. If you practice diligently in the future, you will soon be able to easily level up in this wailing forest alone." For some reason, Lin Yi found that although the levels of the two people in front of him were much higher than his, but he could see the true strength of the two. It might be because they both exuded a faint magical fluctuation and the breath of fire element. The young man was many times weaker than himself, and the middle-aged gray-robed mage was only one level stronger. Both of them were fire mages. The second-level fire explosion just now was used by the middle-aged mage. In Lin Yi's opinion, without the help of the gray-robed middle-aged mage, the young man would have to suffer a little in the mouth of the giant python before he could win. It would definitely not be like what the middle-aged mage said, just relying on the fireball spell that was increased to about level 3, and walking sideways in this wailing forest. Received praise from the elders at home. The young man was even more proud. He looked at Lin Yi and said, "I just saved your life. Why don't you thank me?" Lin Yi frowned slightly and said something that surprised the young man and the middle-aged mage. "Why did you steal my monster?" The boy obviously didn't expect Lin Yi to say such a thing. Not only did he not thank him, but he also said that he stole his monster. Does that mean that he can deal with that level 9 python by himself? Because of the level suppression. He is already level 7, and he can see at a glance that Lin Yi is only level 1. This kind of newbie will die in this forest without knowing how. How dare he be so arrogant? But he didn't say anything yet. The gray-robed mage beside him said, "Little brother, I see that your level is not high. This leveling area is very dangerous. You should leave as soon as possible." After saying that, he took the boy beside him away. Lin Yi looked at the two people walking away and shook his head. Although it was very unpleasant to be robbed of monsters, but considering that these two people might really take advantage of his low level, let it go. But it won't happen again. This little episode was quickly forgotten by Lin Yi, because as he continued to go deeper into the howling forest, he never encountered other professionals again. And the monsters were getting denser and denser. Hiss, hiss, hiss. This time, 7 or 8 giant pythons with golden scales crawled down from the top of the tree canopy. However, before they approached Lin Yi raised his hand, and in an instant, more than a dozen terrifying fireballs the size of wash basins drew a series of scorching trajectories and hit these giant pythons. Pyrotechnics. If the gray-robed middle-aged mage just now saw this scene, he would definitely stare. Shocked and speechless. It was also a second-level skill, and Lin Yi used it with a smooth flow. He did not need to chant or prepare. And it was extremely accurate, and the fire element that permeated the world only needed a thought from Lin Yi. It would become a ready-made spell, killing all these high-level monsters instantly. Lin Yi was now a human-shaped self-propelled spell machine gun. Tired of the second-level fire explosion, Lin Yi began to use the third-level spell. Roar. 2 grizzly bears emerged from the dense forest behind Lin Yi, roared, and rushed up. Bears are animals that are not slow when running, even though they are covered in meat. However, the attack of the 2 forest brown bears was cut off by 3 flame guns forged by flames that suddenly fell from the sky. Boom! Boom! The 3 flame guns penetrated the heads of the 2 brown bears, killing them instantly. The first and second bears both died, and the family was to be complete. You killed 8 LV.9 tree scale pythons and gained 1065 experience points, 360 points of cross-level kill bonus. You killed 2 LV.10 forest brown bears and gained 280 experience points, 80 points of cross-level kill bonus. Due to the effect of your primary experience bonus scroll, you gained an additional 10% experience points, 135 points. You gained 8 python scales. You gained 8 python fangs. You gained 2 bear paws. You reached LV.2. Gained 10 free attributes. After another wave of system prompts, a burst of white light appeared on Lin Yi's body, and he was upgraded. There is a lot of experience bonus for killing these high-level monsters, plus the experience bonus scroll that Zhang Ya, the rich woman, gave him before, gave him an additional 10% experience. This wave of killing monsters directly made him reach level 2. Lin Yi added all 10 free attribute points to the spiritual attribute. His mana limit soared by 700 points again. However, Lin Yi still felt insecure when he looked at his only 20 health points. Yes, although his output was maxed out and his alertness was maxed out. But it was still possible to capsize when he was alone in such a high-level leveling area. Especially if there were some monsters with stealth skills that would suddenly attack him. These 20 points of health were too fragile. Although the underlying mechanism of this world was similar to a game, reality was not a game after all, and there was no chance of resurrection. However, Lin Yi had a countermeasure for the situation. The extra 700 mana points were just enough to allow Lin Yi to implement his previous plan. Lin Yi began to chant. Under the 70% acceleration effect of Divine Grace chanting, his spell lasted less than 2 seconds before it ended. As Lin Yi finished casting, a huge hexagram magic circle suddenly appeared on the ground in front of him. The magic runes in the magic circle kept changing, and the whole earth began to shake. The blazing magma gushed out from the cracks in the earth. Then, an elemental creature with a body of 5 or 6 meters tall, made of scorching hot lava, appeared. The 6th level fire spell, Molten Flame Demon. This spell is a summoning spell. The effect is to summon a molten flame demon from the fire elemental realm. And this flame demon has several skills, high defense, and thick blood, and is completely obedient to Lin Yi. Lin Yi lets it go and fight, and it is extremely obedient. Seeing his mana value drop directly from more than 5,000 to 0, Lin Yi also had some difficulty. The feeling of having his mana directly drained was not very pleasant. But when Lin Yi saw the attributes and skills of the Molten Flame Demon, everything was worth it. Molten Flame Demon. Level, LV.100. Type, Elemental Creature. Health, 500,000/500,000. Mana, 250,000/250,000. Strength, 800. Agility, 500. Spirit, 800. Constitution, 1000. Skills, Lava Spray, Earth-Shaking Slam, Scorched Earth Field, Lava Shield, Self-Destruction. A level 100 summon. And it has 500,000 HP. There is no doubt that it is an extremely terrifying dimensionality reduction attack on other monsters in the Howling Forest. It is not a problem for one to beat thousands of others. And what Lin Yi values most is the Lava Shield skill that comes with the Molten Flame Demon. This skill can be added to yourself. Lin Yi controls the Molten Flame Demon to put a lava shield on himself. As the Molten Flame Demon swung its huge elemental arms, a layer of extremely fiery lava shield wrapped around Lin Yi's body. Perhaps it was because Lin Yi had a very high affinity for the fire element. The high temperature of the lava that ordinary people could not bear would only make him feel warm. Lava Shield. The scorching shield covering the body surface can absorb 15,000 damage for you. When you are attacked, It will cause 500 fire attribute damage to the source of the attack. 15,000 shield value. And there is also anti-injury. Lin Yi was completely relieved. With this shield that can last for an hour, and the extremely terrifying molten flame demon beside him, he felt full of security. Under the influence of the 7% mana recovery effect per second, Lin Yi's mana that had just bottomed out quickly returned to full. Lin Yi chanted again and summoned a second molten flame demon. Then the third one. Looking at the three mighty and oppressive molten flame demons in front of him, Lin Yi was very satisfied. Summoning 3 at the same time is the current limit of Lin Yi. As his level increases and his affinity for the fire element increases, the number of summons he can summon will also increase. However, summoning 3 fire demons at the same time is already a very terrifying combat power. Lin Yi pondered for a moment and finally made a decision. He gave instructions to 2 of the molten fire demons. Let these 2 fire demons wander and patrol in the entire howling forest and kill all the monsters they see. The experience points and rewards of the monsters they kill will naturally be counted to Lin Yi. This is equivalent to 2 fully automatic leveling plugins, constantly helping you find monsters and kill monsters. It is much more efficient than Lin Yi leveling up alone. And the remaining flame demon, just take it with you, as a bodyguard. The 2 molten flame demons that received Lin Yi's order flew to other locations in the howling forest at a very fast speed. This elemental creature has no legs, and even only has an upper body. Their way of movement is more like floating in the air and moving horizontally. Although the 2 big guys look bulky, they are actually not slow, at least several times faster than Lin Yi running by himself. What's more terrifying is that the skill Scorched Earth field of these 2 flame demons is a range-type field skill that continuously spreads lava and high temperature with itself as the center. Lin Yi can clearly see that wherever the 2 flame demons pass, there is scorched earth everywhere, and the trees in the howling forest also begin to burn, leaving no grass. All the monsters that enter the flame demon's scorched earth field are burned to charcoal without even a chance to fight back. Lin Yi takes the remaining molten flame demon and continues to walk deeper into the howling forest. Along the way, Lin Yi can keep receiving prompts in his mind. All of them were prompts about how many monsters were killed and how much experience points were obtained. He had only taken a few steps. A white light appeared on Lin Yi again. You have reached LV.3. Gain 10 free attributes. Before Lin Yi even finished adding the 10 free attribute points he had just obtained, another 5 or 6 white lights appeared on Lin Yi in an instant. You have reached LV.4. Gain 10 free attributes. You have reached LV.5. Gain 10 free attributes. You have reached LV.6. Gain 10 free attributes. You have reached LV.7. Gain 10 free attributes. Lin Yi was stunned. Damn, what on earth did those 2 fire demons do? How could there be such a huge amount of experience points suddenly? He reached level 7 in a second. It seems that leveling up in this world is not difficult. If Lin Yi's idea was known to his classmates, they would probably yell at him on the spot. Because even Zhang Yat. At this moment, there is still at least half a day left before reaching level 7. This is since she awakened her profession. In the past 7 days, she has not rested for a moment and has been leveling up. At this moment she has also entered the Wailing Forest. With her psychic telepathy and wide area killing ability, her leveling efficiency is actually far beyond that of her peers. But even so, her 7 days of hard work and 7 days of struggle were still not as good as the molten flame demon walking around in the Wailing Forest. Zhang Ya used her telekinesis to completely knock out a forest grizzly bear in front of her. Then she used telekinesis to cut again. After finishing the last hit, her mana had completely bottomed out. It was getting dark now, and there was even less light in the entire howling forest. It takes courage for Zhang Ya to level up here alone. She sat down and drank a bottle of blue medicine to slowly restore her mana. At the same time, She also took out dry food and water to replenish her consumption for the day. Sitting on a stone in the forest, the face of the young man who had suppressed her for 3 years and made her feel both resentful and unforgettable slowly appeared in front of Jiangya's eyes. Now, what is that guy doing? Did he receive what he gave him? I have asked my family to check whether he is in the grassland leveling area, but I still haven't received the summons. He wouldn't really be completely depressed like this, would he? Do you want to go see him in person tomorrow? Zhang Ya thought about it and fell into a state of self-tangle again. In the past 7 days, these thoughts had troubled her countless times. She stamped her foot. Huh, why are you thinking so much? How is he? What does it have to do with me? But the more she thought about it, the more she couldn't help but wonder. Woman is such a magical animal. However, the changes in the forest soon made Zhang Ya alert again. Ouch! This is the shrill howl of a wolf. At the same time, there were countless other strange beastly roars. At the same time, the entire land seemed to be shaking. Zhang Ya heard the sound of the hooves and feet of countless animals galloping. Her expression changed, and she quickly drank 2 bottles of potion that had a long CD but could quickly restore blue. Then he hid behind a giant tree and carefully observed the changes in the surrounding environment. Soon, Zhang Ya saw a large group of galloping beasts rushing towards her from a very far distance. Tigers, leopards, brown bears, elk, and even countless smaller animals. These animals, which are supposed to have a relationship between prey and prey, are surprisingly harmonious at this moment. They didn't attack each other, they were just running wildly, as if there was something very scary behind them. Zhang Ya was stunned. Beast Tide. In a small leveling area in Zhangchen, in the Wailing Forest, a tide of beasts unexpectedly appeared. What on earth could have frightened these monsters to make them so panicked? Zhang Ya was inexplicably shocked, and then he saw 2 other figures running away in a hurry before the beast wave. They were an old man and a young man. The older ones were wearing gray robes. The younger ones seemed to be students who have just awakened to their careers recently. Fa, what happened? Zhang Ya's pretty face, which usually showed little expression, was full of surprise. Seeing the 2 people approaching quickly, she asked quickly. Who knew that the 2 of them ignored her at all? Just keep running forward. And wait for the beast tide to pass through. Zhang Yake was shocked to discover what it was that had been chasing them. Boom! A fierce heat wave suddenly hit. Zhang Ya's mouth instantly felt dry. She saw a scene like purgatory. Blazing fire, trees burned to black ash, and a terrifying monster that was 5 or 6 meters tall, with hot lava flowing all over its body, and a hideous face. Run! Run! This is the last remaining survival instinct in Zhang Ya's mind. Horrible. She felt that she might never forget such a scene in her dreams for the rest of her life. Fortunately, Zhang Ya's profession of telepathy allows her to use telepathy to propel herself to move at high speeds. Even after she advanced her telekinesis, she was able to fly. The ability to escape is very strong. Soon Zhang Ya caught up with the gray-robed middle-aged mage. At this time, Zhang Yat also discovered that the young man following the mage was almost crying. Uncle Su, it's too scary. What is that? The gray-robed middle-aged mage also looked panicked. I don't know either. How could such a terrifying boss appear in this level 10 leveling area? There must be something wrong here. The name of this middle-aged mage is Su Guangliang. He is the 2nd head of a small mage family in Zhangcheng. Today he just brought his eldest nephew to level up. I think it's relaxing and enjoyable. Who knew that we would encounter such a terrifying ballrobe monster? It was also a profession that controlled flames to fight the enemy. Su Guangliang only felt that he was once proud of the pyroblast technique. In front of that ballrobe monster, it can only be regarded as a small flame at best. This old man and young man, as well as Zhang Ya, who was constantly running for her life, would never have thought of this. The terrifying ball road gave them a great shock and a sense of oppression. It turned out to be the servants summoned by Lin Yi. And the target of the fire demon was not them. It was the herd of beasts that were running for their lives. They just happened to walk into the path of the beast tide, and then they were swept in like an avalanche. That's all. Zhang Ya gritted her teeth. It seems that there is no information to be obtained from the middle-aged wizard. At this moment, she controlled her telekinesis to the limit and her speed soared again. She successfully escaped the encirclement of the beasts, and then she planned to rush out of the boundary of the howling forest without stopping. But at this moment, the whole howling forest was actually rang with regional alarms. Alarm! Alarm! Regional alarm in Zhangcheng City. A few minutes ago, the Zhangcheng Monster Disaster Warning Center detected 2 small-scale beast tides, moving from the central area of the howling forest to the southeast and southwest. At the same time, a terrifying monster of unknown level and strength appeared behind the beast tide. Please all professionals in the howling forest area and those close to the howling forest take shelter in time. Repeat. Repeat. The alert level is level 2. Please all relevant professionals take shelter immediately. Zhang Ya was horrified. Level 2 alert. She had only seen this alert level in books. This means that a terrifying monster disaster that threatens the entire Zhangcheng is about to occur, and the type of destruction is likely to reach the scale of half the city. All the professionals who received this warning message were shocked. At this moment, on the Qingfeng grassland, the relevant departments of Zhangcheng City Defense dispatched a large number of professional troops, and the weaving professionals of the Professional Alliance were all on high alert. They stared at the direction of the howling forest with great tension. Judging from the surveillance footage sent back from the front, the 2 waves of beast tides are not a big problem. The biggest problem is the 2 extremely ferocious giant molten flame demons. The junction of Qingfeng grassland and Wailing Forest. Behind the army of countless professionals. Standing there are 2 people with the highest power and prestige in the whole Zhangcheng. One of them is wearing armor, with a square face and white hair and beard, which is obviously the image of a general who has been on the battlefield for a long time. His name is Wei Xing, the commander-in-chief of the Zhangcheng Professional City Defense Army, and his strength has reached the 3rd level. Standing next to him is another slightly fat middle-aged man with the strength of the 3rd level. Old Wei, how are the casualties? The slightly fat middle-aged man was panting. His name was Wang Dehai. His profession was a priest, which is commonly known as a nanny. Naturally, his physical strength was not as good as that of a warrior professional like Wei Xing. And as the director of the Education Bureau and the city lord of Zhangcheng City, he has been in a high position for a long time. When he saw this scene, he obviously paid attention to the casualties at the first time. After all, this is related to the so-called positive performance evaluation during his tenure. Although Wei Xing's face was solemn, he was still relaxed when talking about the casualties. Almost none of this year's new professionals were able to enter the howling forest to level up in such a short time. Most of them are in the Qingfeng grassland. The few who entered the forest to level up were at most touched by panic monsters, and were not attacked at all. The injuries they received were only minor, and no one died. Wang Dehai breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, it's not a big mess. How's the intelligence collection on the monster going? Wei Xing's face darkened again, and he continued, it's terrifying. Preliminary estimates show that the strength of the 2 monsters has at least reached the overlord level, and the level is around level 100. The scouts I sent out failed in identification, and none of them could bring back complete intelligence. Fortunately, the 2 monsters did not show a very obvious intention to attack. It seems that their target is only the low-level monsters in the forest. If the situation deteriorates to the point where we have to kill the 2 monsters, it will be very troublesome. They are all elemental creatures. Not only do they have extremely high resistance to fire, but their elemental bodies can almost offset most of the damage to physical attacks. A drop of cold sweat slid down Wang Dahai's forehead. Overlord-level monsters with a level of more than 100, and this is the most difficult elemental creature. How can Zhang Chen, as a most ordinary level 5 base city, have such a reputation? The surrounding areas are all leveling areas of no more than level 20. How could a monster of this level be refreshed? While the two were talking, the beast tide driven away by the two molten flame demons completely broke through the border of the howling forest and rushed into the territory of the breeze forest. The professionals who had been ready to attack at any time all took out their weapons and planned to deal with these panicked monsters who had lost their normal behavior logic. And just when they had just killed a few elks, a terrible change happened. The two molten flame demons who also rushed out of the howling forest saw that these professionals had killed their hunting targets first, and instantly let out a low and terrifying roar. The boiling lava all over their bodies surged. The order Lin Yi issued to them was to kill these monsters as much as possible to help him level up. And now these monsters have been robbed by others. There is no doubt that they violated Lin Yi's orders, so of course they would fall into a state of rage. The molten flame demon, who originally had no intention of showing any aggression towards these humans, shook his two huge elemental arms at this moment, and the hot lava on his body splashed like raindrops towards the countless professionals who were trying to grab monsters. This is their long-range attack skill, Lava Jet. Although Wang Dahai looks like an unprepossessing fat man. But after all, he is a priest of the 3rd level or above. At this time, he also had a staff flashing with holy white light in his hand. The staff was waved, and a golden shield suddenly appeared, covering the professional standing in the front row. Puff! Countless hot lava came into contact with the golden shield, and the terrifying temperature almost melted the shield instantly. Wang Dahai quickly chanted again and added a layer of holy light shield. Only then did he barely save the lives of those professionals. Wang Dahai was no longer sweating on his forehead. Instead, he was sweating profusely. What a high attack power! Moreover, this diffuse attack also carries continuous damage such as burning. If it really hits the crowd, the consequences will be unimaginable. Wei Xing on the side gritted his teeth. The situation has indeed deteriorated to the point he least wants to see. He dared not think about the price he would have to pay to kill these two terrifying monsters. At this moment, an extremely old voice sounded from the sky. Stop it all. Don't attack any monster in the beast tide, let alone the two molten flame demons. Spread the encirclement, control, and drive the beast tide to a certain range, and let the two molten flame demons kill the beast tide. Hearing this old voice, Wang Dahai and Wei Xing both looked happy. Here it comes. The real strongest man in there, Zhang Chen. The figure who is like a stabilizing force, the president of the Professional Alliance, the 4th-turn great magician Zhang Xian. Everyone listen to the order. Do as Zhang Lao tells you. Wei Xing hurriedly ordered his subordinates. Soon, no one dared to attack the monsters that ran out of the howling forest. Instead, they surrounded them and sent them to the flame field of the two lava monsters. Sure enough, the two monsters never fell into rage again, but harvested the lives of those monsters step by step. Almost more than 10 minutes later, hundreds of monsters were all killed by the two molten flame demons. The two flame demons were satisfied. Without even looking at the hundreds of professionals present, they turned around and returned to the howling forest. They would faithfully carry out the orders given to them by Lin Yi. A terrible crisis was resolved. All the professionals breathed a sigh of relief, and they all felt like they had survived a disaster. It was terrible. I almost lost my life here today. Zhang Xian rode a Pegasus with a pair of wings on its ribs and fell from the sky. After a melodious flute sound, he took the warhorse back to his own riding space. Zhang Xian looked at the two fire demons that were gradually going away, his eyes full of envy and awe. Mr. Zhang, You know what they are, right? Wei Xing asked. Zhang Xian had named the two monsters as soon as he appeared. He also knew their behavior logic. Zhang Xian nodded and said slowly, "You are all wrong. Those two molten fire demons are not monsters at all, but the summons of a great mage." Wang Dehai and Wei Xing were all stunned. They all couldn't believe their ears. That was the summons of a great mage. They and others actually wanted to provoke a great mage with at least the 6th level of strength just now. The levels of all professionals in Blue Star are very strict. Take the profession of mage as an example. One transfer, which is the level of transfer that Len Yi is currently at. It can only be regarded as a newbie who has just started on the path of magic. This type of professional is generally called a junior mage, or a mage apprentice. Second and third transfers correspond to intermediate and senior professional titles. Starting from the 4th rank, that is, the corresponding job description for a powerful person like Zhang Xian will be called a great magician. The 5th rank is the mage Eisterer, and the 6th rank is the great mage. Above the 7th level, there is the holy mage Eisterer, who can also be called the Dharma saint. In short, after each profession reaches the 7th level, they can all be called saints. A higher level, even Zhang Xian doesn't understand it, and has never heard of it. That was no longer a level he could touch. Wang Dehai asked tremblingly, "Then, Mr. Zhang, you are saying that a rank 6 great wizard is coming to our Zhangcheng territory right now?" One of the requirements for career changes for professionals is that at least one skill reaches the corresponding level. Therefore, generally speaking, strong people who can use corresponding level skills will basically match each other in their job transfer situations. There are cases where low-level job transfers have high-level skills, but they are extremely rare. So basically, after seeing the 6th level spell Molten Fire Demon, we can basically deduce this conclusion. Zhang Xian nodded. "Decades ago, I was lucky enough to go to the pantheon of the Supreme Mage Professional Guild of our Blue Star for training. My mentor at that time was a rank 6 great mage. It was also at that time that I saw the teacher. He had summoned such a fire demon from the plane of fire element to come to this plane. Magic of this kind requires extremely terrifying magic affinity skills. It is also a skill that I have longed to learn in my life. Unfortunately, I probably won't have the chance." There was a trace of regret on Zhang Xian's face. "I also secretly made a decision in my heart, whether I should find a way to meet the senior later. If you are lucky enough to get some advice from the senior, that would be a great honor. Okay, I'd better lead the troops back to the camp first. Everything is just a misunderstanding. I hope that senior can be a gentleman and ignore the villain's mistakes." Wei Xing was about to leave, but Wang Dehai took a sneak peek at Zhang Xian. He actually also wanted to meet the legendary great mage. But just when several people had their own plans, an extremely vast and terrifying magic power wave came from the depths of the Wailing Forest. As a mage, Zhang Xian is naturally the most sensitive to fluctuations in magic power. It was almost the next moment when I felt the fluctuation of magic power. His face changed drastically and he was sweating like rain. Because he felt the fire element aura that was even more terrifying than the molten flame demon, which was gathering rapidly over their area. Zhang Xian suddenly raised his head and looked at the sky. It's almost night now. The setting sun had even sunk beneath the western mountains just now. The sky gradually became dark. However, at this moment, above the skyline seemed to be resurrected, once again coated with a layer of brilliant gold. Then, the entire sky began to gradually turn red. The professionals who had not had time to retreat also discovered this unusual celestial phenomenon, and they all exclaimed, "Look at the sky. Didn't the sun set? Why did the sky turn red again? It's so hot. Have you ever felt that the temperature is a few degrees hotter than before? You, look over there, what is that? Damn it! That's That's a dragon. At this moment, the blazing skyline and countless orange red rays of light gathered together and gradually condensed into a terrifying dragon with a wingspan of hundreds of meters. The dragon's body is composed of the purest fire element, and it looks huge and sacred. It also exudes extremely terrifying coercion. Just by letting the professionals below take a look at it, they feel like they are fighting. The dragon was completely formed, and the temperature in the entire Qingfeng grassland and Wailing Forest areas increased by 7 to 8 degrees again. Everyone's mouth is dry from the heat. Run. Notify everyone and evacuate immediately. Otherwise we will all die. This is a 7th level spell. Zhang Xian suppressed the shock in his heart, and with the last trace of reason, he quickly informed the two people around him. Wang Dehai heard this. I just felt a roar in my mind, and it instantly turned into a blank. Ah! 7th level spell. In other words, the senior who is currently in the Wailing Forest. In fact, he is not a great wizard, but a 7th turn Dharma saint. Retreat. Retreat quickly. Wei Xing reacted quickly and shouted loudly for his men to retreat. At the same time, all professionals who were leveling up within hundreds of kilometers around Qingfeng grassland also received warnings again. Alarm! Alarm! Zhangcheng City Area Alert. 7th level spell fluctuations have been detected on the outskirts of Zhangcheng Base. All professionals in the area are requested to evacuate immediately and take shelter in the nearest underground air defense bunker. Repeat. Repeat. This alert level is level 1. Please evacuate immediately. All the professionals in Zhangcheng were stunned. Within a day, or even within half an hour of each other. Level 2 and Level 1 alerts were issued one after another. What's wrong? The end of the world. For a moment, everyone was in a panic and began to evacuate. Zhang Ya looked at the blazing skyline in the sky, and the terrifying fire dragon with wings spread out, enough to cover the sky and the sun. The young mind was greatly shocked. Time went back a little. 1 minute ago. The center of the howling forest. Lin Yi was surrounded. And he was surrounded by hundreds of sturdy tigers. Lin Yi had come to the deepest part of this leveling area. He also saw the huge cave entrance that was rumored to be spewing violent storms. But he didn't expect that this was actually the territory of a group of forest tigers with a level of 11. Roar. An extremely terrifying roar suddenly came from the cave. The next moment, Lin Yi saw a Tiger King with a body of 4 or 5 meters long, with stripes all over his body flashing green light, and extremely majestic and magical, walking out of the cave. Boom! Boom! Every time it steps, it is extremely dull. It is estimated that its weight is at least calculated in tons. Lin Yi's eyes lit up. It seems that this should be the strongest monster in the entire howling forest. And this is definitely a boss. Unfortunately, I don't have the identification technique, so I don't know the name of this boss for the time being. Swoosh! Lin Yi only felt a flash in front of his eyes, and the next moment, he only saw the Tiger King's right claw swung violently. In an instant, more than 10 extremely sharp wind blades hit him at a very fast speed. The lava shield on Lin Yi's body instantly fell by more than 1,000 points. Wow, such a strong offensive. And this boss can even cast wind blade spells. Judging from the green tiger stripes on its body, it is estimated that it has lived in this cave with dense wind elements for many years, and its body should have been transformed to some extent. A trace of extremely human shock appeared in the eyes of the Tiger King. It is very afraid of the huge monster next to the human. But it did not take this human to heart. In its opinion, a few wind blades should have torn this human into pieces. Lin Yi's mouth curled up a little smile. Not bad, I finally found someone with some strength. Then let me try my new spell on you. Lin Yi didn't use the 1 free cast and 1 instant high-level spell chants of the 2 passive skills Mana Storm and God's Grace chant. Just like your ultimate skill, you won't use it easily. Seeing a group of soldiers, it's impossible that anyone is willing to give up the big clear soldiers casually, right? So Lin Yi has always planned to try his luck and see if there will be any boss-level targets in this howling forest that can satisfy his desire. Now this Tiger King is undoubtedly an excellent target. However, before Lin Yi casts a spell, 5 or 6 white lights suddenly appear on his body again. You are promoted to LV.8. Get 10 free attributes. You are promoted to LV.9. Get 10 free attributes. You are promoted to LV.10. Get 10 free attributes. You are promoted to LV.11. Get 10 free attributes. You are promoted to LV.12. Get 10 free attributes. This scene surprised Lin Yi. Even the Tiger King not far away was stunned. What happened to this human? How did he suddenly level up so much? Of course, Lin Yi didn't know that this was a large wave of experience gained by killing all the beasts driven away by the professionals after the 2 molten flame demons he summoned. However, this little episode only delayed the death of this Tiger King by half a minute. The next moment, Lin Yi stretched out a finger, pointed at the Tiger King. The next moment, the sky and the earth changed color. The terrifying magic fluctuations aroused the fire elements between the sky and the earth, and all of them became violent. The next moment, the top of the dense forest, which had almost completely darkened, lit up again with a deep red color. It was as if the sunset was coming again. Roar. Woo. The whole tiger group began to panic. The roars and whimpers of the beasts came one after another. The perception of animals to disasters has always been much more acute than that of humans. They all felt the breath of impending disaster. Even the Tiger King's constant roar could not suppress the desire of its tribe and its dependents to escape. Some adult tigers have already started running wildly on all fours, trying their best to escape from here. However, the ending that awaits them is still hopeless. Because the 7th level spell, Skyflame Dragon Breath, covers a very large area. And because Lin Yi casts it instantly, the lengthy chanting time is completely eliminated. So the speed of the attack is beyond everyone's imagination. Yin. The elemental dragon in the sky let out a long dragon roar, and then its huge wings kept flashing. With its head held high, it suddenly spewed out large pieces of scorching dragon breath the next moment. The width of the dragon breath can no longer be calculated in meters. It should be calculated in kilometers. The dragon flame is like a rain curtain, stretching a range of dozens of kilometers. Wherever it passes, the dense forest withers instantly and turns into charcoal. Countless poor creatures didn't even react. The catastrophe is imminent. Half a minute later, the dragon breath of the elemental dragon in the sky directly split the entire howling forest into 2, and the 2 sides of the forest were still densely covered with vegetation and trees. And the central area, within a range of more than 10 kilometers, was already a scorched earth burning like purgatory. Then, the magic fluctuation slowly subsided. The figure of the dragon formed by the gathering of pure fire elements also slowly dissipated at the end of the skyline. The professionals who had evacuated quickly outside the forest before survived. After all, the target of the Skyflame Dragon Breath this time was not them. But just now, while running, the raging heat wave and the terrifying storm behind them told them. If the target of this spell was them, they would not have time to escape. Now it is a pool of ashes. Zhang Xian, the strongest man in Zhangcheng who witnessed the whole process and also a mage, trembled all over. He rode on his Mount Pegasus, looking down at the entire howling forest from the sky. This forest covers an area of thousands of kilometers. The doomsday burn mark in the middle of it silently illustrates the terrifying power of the 7th level spell. That is a shocking force that can change the landscape. The one who really came to Zhangcheng was not a 6th level great magician, but a 7th level magic saint. How could such a person come to such a small 5th level base city, and why would he use such a high level spell in such a low level leveling area? Tonight, I guess many people, including myself, will not be able to sleep. At the same time, the central area of the Howling Forest, or rather, this place can no longer be called a forest. Wherever Linyi looked, there were burning flames, and trees were burned in the flames until they crackled and sparks flew. Even the huge cave in front of Linyi became bare at this moment. The howling wind also stopped completely. From now on, the Howling Forest will never look the same again, and its name will be completely changed. As for the entire group of tigers that had surrounded Linyi with a fierce look, they had already turned into ashes. The majestic and ferocious Tiger King had now turned into a few pieces of equipment and a white skill book, which fell quietly to the ground. Linyi's eyes lit up. The Tiger King is indeed a boss, and it dropped treasures. Linyi picked up 2 pieces of equipment. After taking a look, they are both warrior-type plate armor equipment, and the grade is only black iron. If you take it to the auction house, you can only exchange it for a few thousand Daxia coins. The truly valuable thing is the skill book. In this world, the most valuable thing is skills. Most professionals have to make trade-offs between skills because of insufficient skill points. But everyone understands the principle that more is better. Some skills, just having them, even if the level is not high, can sometimes play a miraculous effect. Linyi picked up the skill book and checked its attributes. Beginner skill book, Wind Blade. Type, skill book, classic. Profession, mage. Learnable level, LV.5. Effect, after use, you will get a new spell, Wind Blade. Linyi's eyes lit up. Good stuff. I didn't expect to be so lucky. Not only did I get an extremely rare dropped skill book, but I can also use it myself. I originally thought of selling the skill book directly, exchanging some Daxia coins, and seeing if I could buy another skill book that the mage profession can learn. Now it seems that I can do it in one step. The price of skill books between professions is also very different. Anyway, I don't know why. The skill books of seemingly simple professions such as warriors and knights are much cheaper. Long-range professions such as mages and archers, especially mages. Skill books are sky-high prices. And in a small base city like Zhangcheng, the goods that can be bought in the trading house are basically elementary skill books. There is no such thing as a skill book that can be directly learned as a 2nd or 3rd level. Linyi directly used the skill book. The next moment, he received the prompt. Congratulations, the skill book was used successfully, and you got a new skill, Wind Blade.